Good morning, brothers and sisters. This is Alfredo. Today is September 20th, and it's early in the morning. So, like 9, not so early, but I just woke up about an hour ago, and I had a dream last night, and I've been trying to connect the dream as much as I can. I woke up praying to the Lord, asking him if he could please help me understand this dream. And um I had like two separate dreams, like just kept jumping from one dream to another, but they're like really weird in a way. But I'll go ahead and start off. The first half of the dream that I had, it was based right here again in by the garage of my mom. It was back there, and I remember that I was just standing by the parking lots, and for some reason I happened just to see what was like kind of like a shed, like a little storage, just in the center of the parking lots right there. And my neighbor was coming down from her place, and she was coming down with someone else. I didn't know who it was. And when she was walking down her steps, I asked her, I was like, because I had glanced inside the storage and I saw that there was a lot of things, and outside too, like bags, and it kind of seemed like she was getting rid of this stuff or like selling it, or I'm not sure what she was doing with it. So I asked her, like, are you selling any of this stuff? And when I asked her, she said, oh yes, actually I am. And she started showing me what was inside the shed, and it seemed kind of, what it seemed to me was it literally seemed like it was like somebody's gaming room, like nothing but video games and a chair and TV and video games and consoles and all this. And she kept showing me like all kinds of consoles, and she kept telling me the prices for them and everything, and for some reason I felt like this place seemed really familiar, like I had seen this shed before, but I just can't remember where I have seen it. Well, she kept telling me like, oh, this, if you're interested in this, and kept mentioning the prices and everything. I kept looking around to see if I found anything that caught my attention, but nothing would. Nothing was. I kept telling myself, for some reason, as I was in there, I kept telling myself like, none of this is worth it anymore. I can still remember clearly in my head as the lady was speaking to me. I kept saying, well, why even bother in buying anything if the time's up? We don't need none of this anymore. It's late. It's no good. But I still stuck around. I kept looking around, and nothing was coming to mind that would interest me. And as I looked around, I saw that on one of the walls of the shed in there, and for some reason, I'm sorry, for some reason, this shed, it seemed like if I knew the person. And I had asked her, oh, well, who does this belong to? And she's like, my son. But I don't remember this lady having any sons, any kids, or anything. And I told her, oh, really? And where is he? And she said that he had gotten arrested, and she had to sell all his things because for the money and all that. That's all she said. And I was all like, oh, okay, I understand. And as I looked around, I saw that on one of the walls inside of there was rosaries hanging, like I would have to say like 10 of them, just like stacked up and just there. You could see them hanging all together. And I started looking through them, and I tried finding one with only the crucifix, not with Jesus crucified on the cross, just only one with the crucifix. But I couldn't find not one. All of them had Jesus crucified. And then I came to one where it was only the cross, but it seemed like it was like there was something else around the cross. Couldn't really tell. Like I just honestly couldn't tell what they were, but it wasn't and I was just looking for the plain cross itself, and I couldn't find it. And I kept looking, and all of them were crucified. And as I was gonna go back to the one that I saw, that it was just a cross with like something on it, somebody else grabbed it. And so I couldn't get my hands on it anymore. And and they purchased it, but I couldn't see who this person was or anything. I had a feeling it was probably her, that she said, oh no, I'm keeping this one or something, I'm not sure. But in that moment, her other son, she said she had another son, and he popped up, and that guy looked really familiar, but I just can't remember his face, but I just know in my heart that that person looked familiar. And as I was looking at them, I was trying to talk to them about what else they were selling, and he was pulling like video games out of secret compartments and everything, and I was like, oh okay, that's fine. And then at one point I glanced down and I saw a big subwoofer, and before I had given my life to the Lord completely, as I have now, I used to like car audio a lot, bass and everything, and I would always tell my parents how like I lived for bass, like bass was in my heart and everything. So, but just last night, this is what caught my attention the most. Was just last night, I was thinking about that, like how like it's all over, like it's done, like there's no point of even wanting to get um like so caught up with systems or anything like that. And so I prayed to the Lord, and I asked him to forgive me for had ever said that my heart lived for subwoofers and bass, and I prayed to him to forgive me for that sin. For now I know, and now I realize that the only thing my heart lives for strongly is Jesus Christ and God Almighty, our Father and Creator. So I had asked the Lord to please forgive me for that, and this was before I had fallen asleep. So going back to the dream, as I was picking up the subwoofer, it looked in good shape, but it still looked like it had seen better days. And I was picking it up, and as I was picking it up, I was looking at it all over, and it had like scratches, little dents and everything, but the subwoofer looked perfectly fine. And as I picked it up, I asked them, "Oh, this is a pretty big subwoofer," and I knew that it would make some loud noise. And as I picked it up, I asked them, "Well, how much is this? How much are you guys asking for the subwoofer?" And before they could ask me how much they were asking for it, I was still looking at the subwoofer. Now, as I was looking for it, looking at it, I turned it around to see where the magnet goes, and so that I could see the coil, to see if the coil was good or was it burnt or anything. And the coil looked perfectly fine. It looked perfectly fine. But as I turned it to the side, like it started falling apart in my hands. And I looked at it, and like the magnet, the bottom base of the subwoofer, like the magnet and where the coil goes, it started coming off, like literally, like just disassembling in my hands. And I asked, and as I looked inside, I kept asking, well, how much do you guys want? And he had mentioned the price, but I knew this price was way too much for the value of it, the shape of the subwoofer. So as I moved it to the side and I started pulling it apart, I saw that the coil did not look as clean as I had looked when I first looked at it. Like the coil had already been like rusty, like really. But the first time that I looked at the coil, it looked really shiny, it looked clean, it looked solid. But this time when I had already looked at it, it looked like mold, like in a way molded, rusty, and it was like kind of dissolving. It kind of looked like when you soak bread, when it's like really moist, like moist bread, like soaked bread. It kind of looked like that. You know how it kind of looks like really heavy and like gushy kind of. That's exactly how this coil looked. And I looked at it, and I put the subwoofer down. I said, I can't take this, and I left it. And that's when my dream ended right there. Well, it didn't end, but I jumped to a different dream. Now, I'm not sure if this was the first dream that I had or the one that I'm about to mention now, but I know that these two dreams, I had them together, back to back. And well, I had finished that scene, and then I came to another scene really quick where I was with somebody, and there was this what I would have to say, kind of like possessed mummy. It kind of looked like a mummy, I'm not sure, but that's what came to my mind as soon as I saw this. And it was kind of like a demon, I would say, like kind of like chasing us. I don't know who I was with, but I knew that that other person had more fear than what I had, because they kept running and running scared, and I was, as I was running too, I wasn't really running. I was just trying to get my distance from this thing, because I kept wanting to observe what it was, and I couldn't put my eye like on it, like to see like what it technically was. But as it kept getting closer to us, I kept thinking, how can I stop this thing? And for some reason, I don't know why, but water came to my mind, and it appeared not next to me, but like just, I knew that there was water next to me, but I didn't know where I was grabbing it from. I wouldn't look because I was too busy looking at this thing. So I would sprinkle water with my hands at it, and it came to my mind, holy water. That's what came to my mind immediately. And I was sprinkling at it, and every time that I would sprinkle water, I would toss it, like toss it, and sprinkle it. It would stiffen. It would start like, it kind of reminded me, because I used to do a lot of fiberglass as well. I used to work with a lot of fiberglass, and I kept throwing water, and it would, like, the mummy or like whatever this thing was kept like kind of freezing up, like getting stiff and stiff. And as it was stiffening up, it would keep coming. You could hear it, like its shell breaking from like wanting to keep moving. So at one point I noticed that just by sprinkling it wasn't enough. So I remember putting a lot of water in my mouth and just blowing it, like, and it like sprayed all over, and it kind of rained on top of it, and it like completely hardened it, like it stiffened it. And I remember it just stayed there like a statue, and as it stayed there as a statue, I kept walking. I walked towards it, and when I walked towards it, I remember taking off like its face, kind of like the mask of its face, and I took it with me because the inside was hollow. There was nothing in there, but I remember cutting out like everything that can be like the face. I just cut it off, and I took it with me, and with this person, and we sat down at a bench, and this person was still very panicked, like scared. They're like, it's gonna come back, and I kept being like, it's fine, just, don't worry about it. If it comes back, we'll deal with it. But we sat down like at this bench, and we started absorbing, like observing the mask, like the face of this thing. And I remember that the right eye of it, it was like kind of like carved, like, I don't know, it looked like it was scarred in a way, like it was missing chunks of its flesh, like it was weird, like really, really bad. And the eye wasn't there. And then on the other eye, it was kind of just dark. There was nothing there. It was just like kind of black eye, but it was fine. And when I looked at this mask, I thought fiberglass, because the way that the material was, that it had to become with the water, it looked like fiberglass, and it looked exactly like how fiberglass might end up kind of bubbly in a way if you miss a couple spots like that. And I was absorbing it and observing it, and I woke up. So I don't know what this dream means. I'm really confused. I'm still trying to connect the dots, but I felt like I had to get it out there before I lose any of it. And I know that throughout the night I kept seeing other visions or dreams, and I couldn't put my mind to it. I can't remember it. They're not coming back to me. But as I was thinking about these dreams today and yesterday, for some reason I kept having more dreams. Like I didn't keep having more dreams, but I kept remembering of dreams that I've been having. So I'm gonna make another video of those other two dreams that have come to my mind. And I hope you guys check this one out, and as soon as you guys are done checking this one out, go and look at the other video. Just I'm gonna share two other dreams that I had, but those were separate dates. And I pray that you guys are well, that you guys are praying every day, that you guys are making your connection with Jesus Christ a lot stronger. He's almost here. I'm sitting outside, and this weather's not looking any good. I don't know, it's really humid, it's really cloudy. It's just doesn't look right. I feel like the Lord's already coming. So check out my next video. I love you all, and I pray that you guys are holy, and God bless you all. I pray.